All right, and it has been a while. Welcome back, everybody. If you notice anything different here, let's go ahead and start off here. I got a new MSD box. This is the 6014, the newest one that has a whole bunch of different settings here, better control with everything. And then I got the high-rise single plane intake for when we spray this thing. It's 453. It's gonna have a rough life. And then all my wiring is done. I don't know really where I was the last time I filmed, but I ran all my wires, my starter wire, the battery cables. I got everything wired up from the main block over here, which is down here. I ran through the parking brake cable grommet for all of this stuff. These two reds down here are battery power. They go straight to the battery. This yellow one is for my ignition. It's ignition power. And then these two green ones are my fan power back from the relays that I ran. They're grounded down here. Alternators ran, the wire for that. Let's see, you got the new MSD box came with a coolant temp sensor, but sadly that's not GM style coolant temp sensor, so I just have to put a different sensor in there and I can plug that in. And I'm gonna be starting the gauges here pretty soon, and this is the gauge, let's see, connector that I'm gonna be cutting off. I'm gonna cut this off and put a different connector on here, and just use all these existing wires for, you know, my gauges, power, and all that stuff for everything. And I got plugs and wires there for it. And then I've been doing lately a good old frame notch. The UMI kit is what I've been doing. Right here I actually have a piece that I've already cut up. These pieces, they start like this, and when you cut the frame out, which I can tell you right now, it sucks. It fucking sucks. I regret starting it, but since I started it, I gotta finish it. So I'm using a grinder with cutting wheels. So I'm just using cutting wheels to cut all this out, and I cut along the weld and basically cut that section of channel out. You get about an inch more out of it, inch and a half if you go a little aggressive on it. This frame's caged. It's got a cage on the frame, so I wasn't really too worried about cutting the piece of frame out and not having much support, because it's got a bar up top up here that's welded on to the frame. But it's not fun. So with these side plates, what UMI recommends is you take these plates and you cut them to fit wherever they are, and then you put a little bend in them, so when you place these plates in place, I'm just going to kind of sit that there, weld that one in, and then you weld this front one in, and all four of these small pieces are the same. You just got to use them a little different. Like over here in the back, it was best like this. That was the best angle because it's got a sharp angle right there. And then up front, if you take this piece and you flip it around, and I think you flip it like this, it had the right angles to get up in this side of the frame. So, and then this big piece, the way I did it, UMI suggests to like kind of lay it on the face and then weld up top up here. I didn't do that, so on this other side, I've already done the passenger side, and this is how it turned out. So, and I had to beat some of this in, like especially right here, I had to curve that in because the frame has like a natural curve right there. So I had to beat that in a little bit to line it all up. And then I set this plate inside the frame. I cut it down, I set it in the frame, and then welded it, like left a little gap in here, and then welded into that gap. And then in some spots I even double welded it just to fill up any holes and cracks. I still got to run over all this with a wire brush and then hit it with some paint or some undercoat or something. And then I took a 4-pound sledge and I beat the hell out of these tubs. Like, I can't tell you how much I beat them, but I beat the hell out of them to where it's behind the frame up here, and then it's pushed forward up here quite a ways on this side. And then I also did it on the other side. I beat the hell out of this side as well to try and get it back, and it's all fucking tore up right here. I'm tempted to cut all this stuff out with a cutting wheel, just to get it out of there. So it's just rotten metal at this point. But yeah, that's where I'm at with it so far. The UMI notch kit, it's a bear and a half to do, man. If you don't know how to fabricate stuff, I do not suggest people getting into this, because this is, for an extra inch, it's kind of rough. I mean, you could back half a car and get better results, you know, than just getting an extra inch doing this. But the only reason I did it is because I found a notch kit for cheap, used on Marketplace, and I said, fuck it, we're gonna go with it. I'm putting slicks on this. I'm gonna put some 29-10-5s on it. So we'll see if them 29-10-5s fit. Someone's already been in here once and cut this lip off, so it shouldn't be too bad. But that's where I'm at with it now. Figured I'd do a little bit of an update. But I'm gonna go ahead and trim this larger piece here, and then I'll come back and show, and then I'm gonna do this piece too. I'll show this piece when I'm done. But yeah, UMI suggests when you fit these in, that you fit them in and you put this bend, you use a vise, and then you beat it with a hammer. I used my 4-pound sledge, and then put this angle in it, so when it sits in there, that front plate will sit flat against that lip, so it has something to sit on, and you can weld that plate to this, straight to this, instead of trying to weld it to the frame or not having anything there. But the way I'm doing it was I'm kind of recessing this, and I'm trying to fit that plate inside the frame rail here, so it's going to tuck inside all the way, and then I'll leave a gap in between the frame and the actual plate, and then I'll weld up in there and try and weld it in like that. But I got to do this piece next. I'm going to be doing that. I just have to mock this up, make some trim cuts, like cut this bottom triangle piece, this piece off right there, and then I can fit this piece up in there, and then bend it, and then weld it into place, and then weld this other one in place, and then I can start trimming my main piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I'll cut to this when I'm done, and then show the big plate as well. All right, now I got that plate in there. It's all welded in. The bottom was kind of tricky, but I got it. And then I got that one welded in. Looks like they got pretty hot there. I think that's gonna hold. And then here's my plate. I've already started making lines for it. I'm gonna have to cut that to get this to fit here. And then I'm gonna trim the whole top edge, and then hopefully it'll fit in the frame. I'm gonna do that real quick over here a few days. I'm actually done. I cut, it took a long time, a lot of coming back and forth, but I trimmed it enough to fit in the frame there and on the top, and then got it all welded in and painted. UMI recommends that you take this plate and just like kind of lay it on the frame and then weld like at the top of it, but I stuck it inside the frame just to get a little bit more clearance, and then welded it in that way. It came out pretty good on both sides. I ran some paint along here and then massaged the hell out of the wheel well here, like I said before. But I should be able to fit 15 by 10s with 5.5 inch backspace now, and then put my slicks on there. So it'll be ready here before too long, because I've already got the steering wheel and a shifter and the gauges back in it. And that'll be in another video. So until then, I'll catch you all in the next one.